everybody. Welcome to Four Records. I'm Forrest.
And I am Jay.
This week we're gonna do something kind of different. We're gonna do a roundtable. We got some awesome guests. We got Andy Bechdolt from the Rad Skulls and Jennie Cotterill from Reckner.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one, folks. This is and a long one. Yes, brace yourself. Have a nice coffee and another one on standby.
We talk about soundtracks that we liked growing up and how they kind of formed us in some way.
Yeah, we get into a little bit about the movies and if the soundtrack is better than or worse than or same as the movie. And yeah, really fun conversation. It goes for a long time, but I feel like it's going to be a quick listen for people. I think you'll dig it.
All right, well, here are our four records. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah,
as hell.
busy.
Too damn busy.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Today's like kind of, it finally broke, and I'm like, okay. So this is good. Yeah, the end of May is always as it's not as crazy as like the end of the year. I don't know, maybe because everybody's like the fiscal quarter is ending, and but yeah, end of semester is like, oh my God. So
Yeah, it's the end of high school for my kid. Her last day was Friday.
oh yeah, I was wondering if this was
I
like
know. This is it.
graduation.
Yeah. Yeah.
When is commencement?
Next Saturday. They have senior week this week. It's the last day of school for the rest of the kids in our town is not until like the 27th of June, I think. But yeah, they do senior week this week. So prom is this week. There's like a kickball game, stuff like that.
I don't know if I would be any good at kickball anymore, but there's a part of me that's like, that sounds fun.
It does, right?
How are things on your end, Andy?
So we were trying to work on a music video. We were trying to DIY a music video yesterday, and we did some band photos, and then we all celebrated with pizza. And then I made the hour drive home to go to a 7-year-old's birthday party where the parents were trying to stuff Costco pizza and cakes down my face. And then we had our it's called Hometown Days, like it's the weekend where they have the carnival and the fireworks.
Yeah.
We went to the parade. I ate 2 tamales, and then I came down here, and I'm currently missing a 6-year-old's birthday party. So,
Or they will continue
so
to
yeah,
feed
so
you
I'm
steak and
tired,
Costco pizza.
like everybody else, just wondering when it stops and trying to figure out when I can just get 5 minutes to rest my eyes.
Yeah, tired, full of cheese, a little sunburned. Yeah.
Dude, okay, so Wisconsin has a reputation for drinking. And so we're in public, waiting at the parade, and one of these dads comes up, he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the bar, get a beer?" And I'm just like, dude, it is 10:45 a.m.
Your response is not till 11.
Like my man talked me into a mimosa, maybe a screwdriver, but a beer.
Yeah, he wanted someone to go with him because then it's not as shameful.
And then you have like the local karate place handing out beer koozies as advertisements, and so yeah, I'm just tired, and it's like the first, as a bald man, the first burn is always the worst. So like, Jason, I'm sure with that laugh, I'm sure you have some sympathy or empathy.
I don't know.
Oh!
I have all of my hair.
It's the hat. The hat shows people. It's a red
I,
herring. Yeah.
my brother is 3 years younger than me, and he started going bald early. So I went gray real early, but he went bald real early. So every time I cut my hair short, he's like, "Why would you do that? You have all your hair. Why don't you just let that shit flow?"
I
don't know.
I walk around
because
with
it's
my
too
wife.
hot.
We own a hairstyle. Like, she's a hairstylist. We own a salon, and we'll walk around. And I'm like, look at that idiot with the great head of hair and a stupid ass haircut.
Yeah,
I'd be doing it so much cooler if I could.
Yep, I am that idiot.
What's your music video you're working on, Andy?
Oh, so we recorded a full length album earlier this year that got picked up by a few labels, and so it was sort of the cliched like cool guy goes out in public and is playing the song, and then he just kind of like Pied Pipers his way to have a whole band, and it all leads into the garage where we're all
Whoa.
That's cool.
just doing garage rock stuff. So we'll see if it comes together. It was all very deep. It was like, so our drummer Pat is a stay-at-home dad, and he met a dad through like the daycare library club who was into punk rock and was a stay-at-home dad and went to school for audiovisual stuff. So it was just like, hey, do you like pizza and you want to like hang out? And then so halfway through the photo shoot, like his family showed up, and then it was like the girls were playing in the background and the moms were sitting there in the
Oh,
lawn chairs, and so ended up being a little bit of a family thing. So it's kind of, who knows how well it's going to turn out, but it's very much a DIY, kind of keep it in the family thing.
cool.
When that record gets here, it's fantastic.
Oh, well,
I
thank you.
cannot wait for it to get here.
Yeah, we just got an update. I think everything, like all the artwork and everything's turned in, and we got whatever is it the UPC code or whatever for a
Yeah.
vinyl run, and I think they said they're going to do it's like a black or a gray, silver, and a blue. So we'll have a three color
Nice.
run. So, yeah. So I don't know. I just like, again, 18-year-old Andy is very excited for all of this stuff. 3-year-old Andy just wants to take a nap.
When's
Awesome.
it out?
I think we're aiming for September. So I don't know if that's end of summer or early fall. Kind of, I guess,
Yes.
maybe depending on how you divide the calendar and when the snow starts.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, excited. This is our drummer Pat. He was in Latterman and Bridge and Tunnel, so he's had a lot of punk rock success. But for everybody else, the other guitarist is a guy that I've been in bands with and friends with for 20 years, and so we live in Madison, Wisconsin, which is just kind of a black hole for punk rock. It's like you got Chicago, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis, and Madison, University of Madison. So there's a lot of kind of every couple of years, the demographic changes and the scene changes a little bit. And we've kind of aged out of the scene that's there. So being able to meet Pat and then, to be able to continue to do this and then just have these kind of bucket list items that you dream about when you first start playing with friends or learning an instrument happen. A little bit older is cool. And now I get to share it with my girls. Like they've come to a show and they've got merch and they've got stickers. And so it's been fun and it's been surprising and just trying to enjoy it while it lasts.
Let's see, I can go first, I guess. I'll do it and we'll figure out from there. I chose the soundtrack to the movie Grosse Point Blank. Essentially, John Cusack is a hitman who has to who goes to his high school reunion in Grosse Point, Michigan, and he has to see the girl that he stood up on prom night, but also has to do a job while he's there too. This soundtrack for me in general kind of pointed me in the direction of my music. It's the Clash, it's the beat, it's the Violent Femmes. I think I'd already had because my aunt threw me that first. I had her copy of the tape when I was in junior high of the first Violent Femmes record. But
when did that movie come out? I was trying to remember. When did Grosse Point Blank come out? Was it like 97? It feels like a late 90s. Okay. Feels like a late 90s movie.
Yeah. And I've watched it a million times, and I think also, like, this is where I get my genre mashing that I do, because I do it when I write in general. It's always genre mashing of some sort, where it's like, yeah, I like this movie over here, but like, what if this movie over here was this movie over here? And I think I can point to that. It's kind of like also like the like True Romance. I love True Romance because it's a nice love story, but it's also like a really fucked up drug movie where they're on the run. So I think Grosse Point Blank was the first one I saw like that, where it was like, oh, it can be this type of movie, but this also.
That movie is so good. I don't know how many times I've watched it, but it's like, it's one of those Cusack situations where like Joan is in it too, and I think another sister.
Yeah, it pops up in the bar at one
Yeah.
point. She's one of the drunks at the bar.
Yeah, it's so funny. And also like what happened to Minnie Driver? She's such a babe in the movie. Like
She pops up on things here and there.
Okay.
She was on some show about autism. I didn't even watch it, but I know it was. I know because it was in some of the groups that my wife was looking at, and I would see it every once in a while. Those groups, as you live next to somebody, that algorithm and the kind of just gets
Yeah.
your ears as well.
Do you still have your copy of the soundtrack of the Grosse Pointe? How did it come out? Was it on?
It was on
like,
CD.
Just CD.
It was.
I don't
actually
remember it. I remember the music and listening to it the way you sent it on that Spotify playlist. I
Mhm.
remember the music to the movie, but I don't remember having a physical copy of it.
Was
My
it
dad
double?
had it, so I had my dad's copy, and I think I had copied it onto tape because I didn't have this. I had a CD player at that point. I probably borrowed it from my dad a bunch.
Am I
The thing
crazy?
that-
Was it a double?
They released a second part,
Okay.
and that had more. It had more like like Killing Moon's on the second part.
Okay. Yeah.
And
We had the double, and it
Oh.
was like in my book, like so good.
yeah.
Such a good, it's a good playlist. Like there's nothing on there where you're like, okay, we get it. But no.
I never listened to it. I missed it when the movie came out, but the thing that jumped out was just how much variety is on that soundtrack. Like you don't know what's coming. Like, you know, there's the Clash and then the English beat, and there's kind of that reggae, you know, dance hall type of thing, and then you get Guns N' Roses,
Yeah.
and then you get Faith No More. And then it
Yeah.
kind of goes back to the Clash, and then there's that song El Matador, which was my favorite on that record, and then you get Pete Townsend. So it's just like
Yeah.
I was folding laundry, and I had to check a couple of times to make sure my Spotify playlist didn't just wander off.
Yeah. I have a question
Okay.
about it because he's at the 10-year high school reunion and it's in the 90s. So then I realized, I was like, is this soundtrack so banging because it's the music that they were listening to in high school 10 years ago? Do you think that's
Yeah, I mean, because she was in the all 80s weekend, so I think they kind of like kept
that's
it with
right?
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's right, on the radio. Oh my God, what a fun device. Who was the music producer for this? Do we know?
I know Joe Strummer did a lot of the music, like the music, like the interstitial music and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think him and John Cusack were the ones that put it together because John Cusack is unashamedly a Clash fan. And then yeah, even when they made a kind of a sequel to this movie, and the Mescaleros songs come up.
What?
It's
like an unofficial sort of.
It's a sequel, and it's not
Yeah.
it's not the best movie, but if you're like a huge fan of this, you'll kind of pick up like the parallels on it.
Who's in it?
He's in it.
Okay.
Aykroyd pops in for a moment.
My God, I forgot Dan Aykroyd is in the movie. Okay.
And he's the best in this movie. I think he plays a really good villain in this movie.
Okay. I gotta write this down. My family's obsessed with this movie, and I don't think anybody knows about it.
It's like it's a different vibe. It's way more allegorical, if you will. It's like a dystopian type movie, and he's still a hitman, and they kind of make a reference to it, like the Grosse Pointe Blank, but it's not the same movie.
Okay.
It's a more dour movie.
Okay. No, I just love this movie so much, and I feel like I can't tell if it's that I'm growing old and grumpy or just out of touch, but like it's like, and maybe because when this movie came out, I was like had limited autonomy being like a teenager and just like so I watched more movies, but I just remember being like, this movie fucking rocks. Like it's so funny. Jeremy Piven is so funny in it. Like Joan Cusack says so many good things. Like, and the music, like we said, is incredible. When you told me what you were picking, I was like, I was gonna pick that too.
Yeah.
And I thought about Singles, so it's just like I didn't know
I thought about
Songwriter.
Tank Girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequel to Grosse Pointe Blank is called War Inc.
Yes.
And Cusack wrote it too, which I'm surprised by. And Hilary Duff and Marissa Tomei, the two female leads.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I know. That movie did $1.2 million at the box office. thus the reason we've not heard of most people haven't heard of it. Yeah.
It was very, very independent. Well, he also wrote on this a bit too. I think he did the story for Grosse Pointe Blank. Cusack.
He was on such a run in the mid to late 90s, man. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, in my head, I was conflating some of this soundtrack with High Fidelity because like I feel like they came out back to back with each other
Yeah.
and they're both like same sort of theme, but he was on such a run in those late 90s. Piven too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
Entourage, and then he got weird.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, I like him because I'd seen a few movies that were good, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
same.
an arc there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the last movie I like him in is Old School, where he plays the bad guy in Old School, and then I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out, Piv.
Yeah, High
I don't-
Fidelity. Oh my God, that's a huge soundtrack too.
Yeah.
This was a great question. Like,
It really was, yeah.
yeah. I almost picked The Big Lebowski.
That's a good one.
I feel like I listen to that music or like love those songs. Some of them I learned from the movie, but it's like it's just like it's a character. I mean, same Grosse Pointe Blank, I would say the music is for sure a character. I forgot about
Yeah.
the All Ladies Weekend. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's still a movie I watch a bunch. I think I watched it a year. I was trying to get Emily to watch it, and she kind of watched it. She kind of comes in and out of movies. I got a story about Tank Girl when that gets here about
Okay.
that, but she'll kind of go back and forth on movies, and yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's
I feel like it's been on TV. And sort of like Shawshank Redemption. Like obviously I saw Grosse Pointe Blank a few times when it came out. And then it's just like I'll watch it when it's on. But like with Shawshank, like I have probably seen the movie 10 times, but not straightforward, like not start to finish in
Yeah.
probably 25 years because it's just always on.
I think that's a movie that's definitely in my top 10 is Grosse Pointe Blank, though. I think it sets a lot of things up for me in general.
Yeah,
creative-wise.
it certainly does a good job of kind of capturing a moment in time.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with my friend the other day, and it was just like, the 90s, I think, were the last time where it was just, you could have so many different styles of music be popular at the same time and turn on the radio and hear so many, not so many genres, but maybe you could hear Hole and Soundgarden, and then there was the Spice Girls, and there was just so much going on, and I think that this, even though that this is the movie was written, filmed in the 90s, and supposed to kind of revisit their high school reunion days back in the 80s, I think it still does a really good job of just kind of being able to capture the variety of popular music back then.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny to talk about. I almost feel like its variety was part of monoculture. Like we all knew Spice Girls, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and then now we've just exploded it, and there's stuff that like no one will ever hear of. I have no idea what that is, or like, and I may never encounter it versus like this was kind of like the full bloom of like everybody knows The Cure, whether or not you think you listen to like post punk, you know what I mean? Or like,
Right.
and everyone knows Britney Spears, like, so.
But I think with even with now, it's much more blurred because you don't have like straight punk kids. I mean, I'm sure you do, but you don't have. I feel it's a lot more blurred. Like I don't think you have as many factions of like punk rock kids that don't that just listen solely to punk rock. I think they listen to a little bit of everything now, and I think in some of the newer bands like that too. Like I'm just getting into Scowl, and the difference between the early Scowl albums and like the newer ones are poppier almost. Like they're almost you can hear the difference between the two.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So you think so? It's almost like the splintering is now turning into like it's all kind of bleeding.
Yeah, I feel like it's bleeding in because like a lot of the kids that are like 20 years younger than me that are listening to music and stuff, they kind of go a little bit of everything. Like oh, Jacob, one of our contributors, Jacob, I
Yeah.
feel he kind of jumps everywhere. Like it's, you know what I mean? He's a little bit everywhere.
Having my old man yells at the cloud moment, like the internet really, and just being able, it changed how people are able to digest and discover, music. And so I think we're deep enough now, with streaming and all of that sort of stuff. Like we've all been able to grow up with it and see, you remember life before streaming. And maybe you got to go back to the liner notes, or you buy, to look at who the bands are thinking and be like, is that a cool band? I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
going to go to
Mhm.
the CD store and just buy it randomly because they thanked a band, or you buy a comp and you go, well, I like this 1 minute and a half song. Um, and now you've got so much music out there. And and you can discover so much. And now there's a whole world of music that you can just blend together.
Yeah.
You know, Growing up, keyboards weren't in punk rock. Like I was listening to the Misfits and Minor Threat and the Dead Kennedys, and all of a sudden keyboards are getting introduced, and I'm just like, oh,
Stop
okay, yeah, like why? Like,
it.
I'm a 19-year-old hard mind, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, you have all these like instruments and these influences that weren't available to the people that we grew up listening to and the founding fathers and all this kind of stuff. And now you just get this, it's the melting pot. You have all, now there's like techno breakdowns in these bands, and there's like, you got a hardcore punk band with it's going into a ska breakdown, and
I know.
just
It's nonsense. Yeah.
it's just, yeah, and like it's cool. And again, sometimes like for me, I get why people would like it. Well, especially with Turnstile blowing up.
Hmm.
It was like they were able to incorporate a bunch of outside influences that you like open the door for them and have paved the way for other bands. And like I listen to it and I go, this is cool. And I get why other people would like it, but I'm just a simple man that likes simple music at this point in my
Yeah.
life.
It's like I am really bad at a salad bar because I'll be like, I'm just gonna put everything on this, and then I'm done and I'm like, this kind of sucks. Like it would have been better if someone had curated this and cut. But also, okay, so I a long time ago, the first like band I was in is Introspect, and like it was old school punk and techno, and this was like in 2003 and 4, and it sounded super cool, but people were like, this makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And then now, like Homefront is like the band that
Yeah,
everybody has
yeah,
such a hard on, and I'm all,
Yeah.
this is fucking Introspect. Like, I love all these like tough guys that would have been like, ew, about Introspect 20 years ago, being like, best band ever. This is fucking amazing. But it's like, it is it's the Overton window, but I think they do it really well. But I hear what you're saying right now. It's almost like having a fever dream where you're like, why is that in here?
Yeah, sometimes
yeah.
you see them, like I have this conversation with my friends, and you go, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and he was telling me he was going to go see Saves the Day. And I was like, oh, awesome. I was like, did you ever listen to Lifetime? And he goes, no, who's that? And I was like, well, that's kind of the band that Saves the Day wanted to be. So like we're at a point now where you hear these things and you go, oh yeah, they're like,
That's this.
I listened to the grandparents of that band. Like they're three or
Yeah.
four generations, removed. So like I get what they're doing. I just liked it the first time around.
Yeah, it's like less adulterated. It's funny because like even like a lot of like first generation like fat bands, like that was news to me. And
Mm,
then like learning more later, I'm like, oh, that was X and that was the
Yeah,
replacement.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it's like, and I think what you said about liner notes, right? Where there's like an element of research involved where like you have to like see something, hang on to it, check it out yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're cataloging things versus like this like just like the way a whale eats krill, you know what I mean? Like just swimming through the water and like stuff is just like coming through your gills. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? You have no idea who it is or where it came from, and like
right.
it's like feels so cheap, and you know, it's kind of I would
Well,
love someone who teaches like music theory to be like, the assignment is
yeah.
tell me your favorite band and then like work backwards on like its family
Yeah,
tree
yeah, yeah.
and find
Right.
the root,
Yeah.
Right.
like
That's how I got into older music. I just started doing that. I just started going backwards. Like there was nothing good going forwards for me for a minute. So I was like, all right, let's just go. So let's just go. Okay, The Clash liked all these bands. Let's go back and listen to all these bands.
Yep.
yeah.
And just
Yep.
that's how I got to rocket. That's how I got to my rockabilly phase.
Can that be your next episode, right? Pick your favorite band and
Oh,
then
that's a good one.
the family tree of it, you know?
Oh, find the record
That's
and
how,
find the family tree.
yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds
That's an
fun.
Good
interesting one.
idea.
Yeah,
Okay, see you guys in 3 months.
that's right.
Ooh, that is a good one.
I can see the wheels turning.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
give
No,
it-
I'm thinking about
give
that.
it,
Yeah.
give it some time to sit. And yeah.
And then you could project forward into stuff that you don't really like, but you see how it was influenced by.
I'm not, I'm just more, rather than complaining about it, I'm just more like, okay, well, moving on.
Yeah.
That's how I had to get, because I was just like, I can't complain about things anymore. I don't have
Oh, I
time.
know. There's just so much. Wow.
All right. So who wants to go next?
I feel like one of our guests should go next, and then I can bookend.
Okay.
Jenny, you want to go?
Okay, I'll go. Okay.
All right.
So, Tank Girl. Tank Girl. Okay. This morning I'm like laying in bed and I was like, I did no research for this. This was like just an instinctive, like, what, I think I've never responded to an email faster in my life than when Forrest asked me to do this. But
Basically, same. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Tank Girl. So okay, I think I read the Wikipedia this morning and like it's like 95, I think it came
That
Yes.
sounds
out.
right.
It's have you guys seen it or no? It's
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched it 1.5 times this week, but I'll explain why I watched it 1.5 times.
Okay. Well, for anybody not privy to this important work, it is an important work.
No,
I
it
think
is.
you
It
ask
is.
any femme person
No, 100%.
self-identified as a punk rocker that is, I don't know, would have been like sentient at the time that it came out.
Hmm.
I think they would be like, oh yeah, Tank Girl. At least as influential as like the Distillers. Do you know what I mean? Same demographic.
Mhm.
Okay, so Lori Petty is this like brash, crass, wild, independent lady, post-apocalyptic. There is no water on planet Earth. Water is controlled by an entity hilariously named Water and Power, which is amazing. Also, it's based on a comic series that was famously illustrated by Jamie Hewlett, who is culturally most known for like visualizing the gorillas. But then they had other artists working on it, like in classic real comic form, where it's like sometimes it's this person and sometimes it's that person. I think that started in the 80s and it's so good looking. Like if you have not laid your eyes on an original kind of Tank Girl, like you must. It's like so stylish. She often has a crazy semi-shaved haircut or fully shaved. She does not give a fuck. She's a badass. She's hilarious. It is irreverent. The comic is irreverent. Anyway, so she is wronged. Her boyfriend is killed in this like attack, and she is like imprisoned. She drives a tank, hence Tank Girl, and it is outfitted in lots of like found flair, which as like a teen hitting the thrift store hard, that was like, yeah, my room looks like that, my car looks like that, and I'm, gluing toys on things and like just being ridiculous. Like she's ridiculous and funny, and her clothing, post-apocalyptic punk, is very like punk. You know what I mean? Like it's half a t-shirt. It's like a tube sock on your arm for a sleeve. Like extremely ripped up fishnets under whatever the fuck you want, and like a million keychains on 5 belts, and fashion icon, cultural icon, punk icon, feminist icon. Anyway, so she falls in with the Rippers, which are like these mutant kangaroo humans. I think they're all men.
Mhm.
And they join forces. She is like the steward of like a little girl who is kidnapped and like sent to like a sex club, which has big Epstein vibes, you know what I mean? And she rescues her. She makes friends with a early Naomi Watt with black hair, which I think she looks great with black hair,
Mhm.
who is a tech for jets. So she is named Jet in the movie. So she and Jet go rescue the little girl and like fight the water and power system. Um, the soundtrack is incredible. There's like a moment of animation at the end. There's like really fun, kind of early Batman and Robin, like comic book interjections, like visualization of like kind of POW stuff or like halftone dots. Um, yeah, I think there's like moments of the original artwork kind of
Mhm.
interspliced. It's absurd, kind of in the same way that there was like an absurd aesthetic in a lot of like lower budget movies in the 80s and 90s. Like, did you guys see Toys?
The Robin Williams movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Based on Magritte's work, you know what I mean? Like absurd, fun, like cotton candy, like kind of Talking Heads-ish, Pee-wee stuff. So this is like it's wacky looking, it's wacky. But knowing the comic, I think they did a really good job of like adapting this like visually really iconic and unique work into like a live action movie. The costumes on the Rippers are kind of crazy. I mean, it's practical effects, so I feel like having not seen it in, I don't know, 15 years, I might be like, "Eh." But I do love practical effects. Um, the soundtrack fucking slaps. Courtney Love worked on the soundtrack. Um, it's very 90s, but it's also very alternative and punk. Some of the stuff that's not on the soundtrack includes Richard Hell, um, and Disconnected by Face to Face. That's the first time I ever heard
Hmm.
that song, and it's in a
Same. Yeah.
great scene
Yeah. Yeah.
where I was like, I mean, not only is it a good soundtrack, but like the way it's used, like the moments where the song comes in, the snippets, like it's really good. It's like there's the DJ, you know? Um, Also there's a duet between Joan Jett and Paul Westerberg, which like I didn't know who Paul Westerberg was
I
when
didn't
I
realize
got
that
this
was
soundtrack.
Westerberg on that.
Yeah. And like,
It was
I don't
supposed to be
know.
Greg Graffin, but
I
then
read that today.
yeah,
That's so funny.
they were on a major, and the major wouldn't give them Atlantic wouldn't give them permission or whatever. So they went to Westerberg, and he said yes, which is crazy.
Can you imagine? I don't think it would be as good with Greg. No offense, but like,
I don't think it would either, but I
That like
can't hear it any other way.
yeah, I mean, it's just so silly, and I feel like Paul Westerberg's solo stuff is kind of sometimes a little silly and like out of pocket. Um,
Grandpa Boy, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, and then listening to all of our choices, you know, one by one, I was like, there's so much heavy distortion on this soundtrack, but that's
Yeah,
super 90s. Also, my
yeah,
favorite L7 song of all time is on this soundtrack. And L7 is also formative. Like that came into my
yeah,
life
yeah,
at
yeah.
the same time Tank Girl did, and I was just like, who the fuck are these ladies? You know, I want a distortion pedal immediately. Um, Same
And
vibe, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
there, so as I was listening to these, I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
was
yeah.
marking my favorites as I was listening to these, and I had for this one the L7 and the Joan Jett, and there's a part in that L7 song where she says something like "We should be proud," and then she's like, "Bleh!" And I just like I love a good, and I listened to that probably
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's awesome."
It's
And then
all badass and a little cheeky, you know?
yeah, and then the Joan Jett, like I try to teach. I got 2 girls, 10 and 7, and I try to teach them like girls are rock and roll. They have Donna's records, and they know like Joan Jett and the Runaways, and they know the words to Cherry Bomb. And so I was listening, and I was like, I gotta add this one to the playlist. I gotta add this one to the
Yeah.
playlist. And like that whole song, I forgot how gnarly her
Yeah.
vocals, like Courtney Love's vocals can get, I was like, man, she's really like, getting after it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like the family tree, right? You know what I mean? Joan Jett did some stuff that like Wanda Jack, you know what I mean? Like it's like rough going back
Mm,
and back. And then Courtney Love really like it was like how blown out and distorted and guttural can we be?
yeah.
Which I don't think I think Brody Daly or whatever, like after that, again
Mhm.
took it further. But and now everybody, I feel like you're just imitating one of these women. And this
Yeah.
Mhm.
This one was really surprising too for how diverse it was because it starts off with like this little kind of like techno, and I'm like, oh, I'm
oh,
vibing,
but
and
it's
it goes
not
into
techno. Do you remember Stomp?
no,
It was like a percussion group, like
oh
dudes
really?
fucking banging on trash
Oh,
cans.
it's
Like
that
that is
stomp. It's that
analog.
Yeah,
stomp.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize
But
it
I
was
thought
that
it was
stomp.
techno too. I'm sorry, Andy. I'm like so excited.
No, you're fine. And then it went to Bjork, and I was like, yeah, like it's a Sunday morning vibe. I could picture like making some tea, putting some dishes away, having this on in the background, and then it goes
Yeah.
into Devo, and then the Magnificent Bastards, and then Elsa, and it was just like, oh, all right, we're rocking now. And then you kind of get back, and then Portishead shows up, and like there's a Bush song that's kind of slower. I took notes, so I'm reading off my notes.
Yeah.
Same
And then
seas.
it was the belly, the feet, thief, like that song, acoustic and kind of slow, and so I think that's like this was one where it was kind of the same thing, where it was just a little bit different. They were kind of bringing in different elements, different genres, and it really just kind of kept everything fresh. And it just kind of kept you interested and engaged, and not sure where it was going to go next.
Yeah. I did think it was weird the track listing putting the Veruca Salt right next to Belly. They're
Yeah.
not next to each other. You know what I mean? I was almost like,
Yeah.
this is feeling a little Noah's Ark, like just putting like with like
Yeah, right.
throughout the track, but and then ending with fucking iced tea.
With
You
Ice
know,
T.
it's
I did not see
but
that one coming either.
oh my God. That I loved that though in being a young girl learning to play guitar and being like, yeah, I'm mad too. Yeah, I'm not neat and orderly and I did not understand charm school concepts like but then also loving like in the 90s in any alternative album there would be something with just guitar with a lot of tremolo and like a soft ode, so like that feels so 90s to me to have those two like kind of sweeter quiet songs.
I,
You know?
I think one of the things that I read, I didn't have time to do the research if it was right, but I think all of the songs, or maybe most of them, were written for this movie specifically. Like, I don't think they were just kind of cherry picked from other people's discographies. I think it was very intentional with these songs.
Yeah, a lot of them. You know what I mean? I forgot that the Devo song was like a
Like a re-record.
re-recorded and it's
Mm.
pretty
Yeah.
slow, weirdly. Like, but yeah, I love it. You guys got to see it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that movie in probably since high school. But like that movie was like an atom bomb in my circle in high school. Like it came out, I graduated in 97. And so if that movie came out in 95, that was like ninth, 10th grade. That movie, like it was everywhere. It was, I think, to the scene and to like the girls in the scene, what Singles was 4 years earlier to like dudes like me.
I
Like
feel like also on the level with like SLC Punk, where like weirdos were like, oh, you're gonna spend money
yeah,
on us. You know what I mean? Like, well,
yeah,
okay, we'll check it out. Like,
right.
you know.
I haven't thought of SLC Punk in years.
I know.
I heard a rumor there's like a sequel coming.
He's making one about 90s punk. It's not a direct sequel, but it's like a 90s
Okay.
punk one.
Okay.
Is it like the War Inc. to your Grosse Point Blank?
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, no, he made another one.
There was a second one.
He made a second one. It's not
Oh,
great. It's yeah. I wasn't a fan. I try to get through it. It's okay. Bob's the only one that shows. Oh, Bob is the only person that comes back, like the star from the movies. Oh no. James Duvall comes back and Devin Sawa's back. So, like those are the only three that come back. And
okay.
then someone else plays. The story is that Heroin Bob and the girl that he was with in the movie have a kid, and it's about Heroin Bob's kid.
I thought, oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is going back and seeing Seth Rogen and
Donnie
like
Darko?
and some of those guys that were in SLC Punk.
Oh,
Oh my
it's
God.
not Seth. It's Jason Segel.
Is that who it
Oh
is? Oh
wow.
yeah. Jason
Yeah,
Segel.
Jason
Yeah.
Segel's the
Okay.
nerd in that movie, and the the
Yeah.
one who like takes off his glasses and beats the shit out of out of the bouncer.
Yeah.
I love him.
I have no callbacks to that movie whatsoever, aside from that I saw it in college. I have no nothing
You're not
stuck
selling out,
from that
Jason. You're
movie.
buying in.
Yeah,
Either that or Dogma was the first rated R movie I got into.
Oh.
And I saw them like a
Oh,
week. I saw them like a week or two apart, so that's why I'm not sure which one it is. They came out around the same time.
yeah, those are the same time.
That was another soundtrack I almost chose too. Was the
yeah, I was
SLC
gonna
Punk one?
say.
Yeah,
How
That's
did
a good one.
this whole prompt, I feel like music supervision in the 90s for like young folks films was like there was a budget. And then there's some movies like Kingpin. I was like, is this movie put out by a record label? Like this was just like it was like they knew they wanted to sell the soundtrack or something, so they like
Mm.
made it super fun,
It's such a good one.
or like Clueless, like just or Angus. That was one I didn't see, but a
Angus
lot
was
of friends
great.
of
Yeah,
mine are like the Angus soundtrack, you
yeah.
know.
I do think, kind of touching on the 90s, just being so, I mean, such a variety of popular music. I think this soundtrack does a really, if someone to pick one album to describe the 90s, like this would be a tough one to pick because of the different variety and the different sounds and the
Mm.
different, uh, you've got the rockers and then you've got the slow stuff. And, um, yeah, this was a cool one and definitely got some takeaways from it.
Cool. One
I,
album.
I still need to go watch it. I remember the trailers, and I grew up in a very religious household, so it was like that was it. I saw the trailers, and then I haven't thought about this movie in plus years.
It's
But I was
kind
going
of
to ask,
bad, but
'cause
in a great way,
yeah,
parts of it.
but I
Yeah.
was going to ask about the comic because I know as a comic book, times
Mhm.
people, the translating that into a show or a movie can be difficult. But you kind of touched on that already, where you said you felt like it did a good job.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the have you seen the comics ever? It was like I mean, Jamie Hewlett is pretty original. Like I don't know if younger people know that that's all from one artist, that kind of like language. Um, but yeah, visually, it was like the comic would sometimes be like trippy and weird, and like they would play with the page in a way that was like they're not just like telling you a story with pictures, but they're like, being kind of
yeah.
funny and irreverent and like, yeah, it's pretty
Well,
good.
yeah, I mean, this is something to look into too because my oldest is into comic books and likes that kind of stuff, and um, so this will definitely put something on my radar to kind of be, to more of that girl power kind of, here's more female lead superhero kind of stuff. So yeah, so this certainly opened up a memory that I had forgotten about and an opportunity to kind of try to pass this on to the next
Forrest grabbed
generation.
something.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I
and in
closed windows. It's a
hindsight,
loud car.
Oh, I thought he was like, I have it here. I tried to check it
No.
out from the library. Sorry.
I'm actually kind of surprised that I didn't show this movie to my daughter when she was at like the formative age. She's 18 now, so I think like I don't know, those pathways have already formed against this sort of thing in her brain. But I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know why I didn't show this movie to her when she was like 12 or 13. Like I don't know, I missed the
Yeah.
boat.
We watched it, and then Emily watched half of it, and then we usually like watch TV or a movie or something, and she comes out and she goes, "Hey, can we finish Tank Girl?" And I'm like, "What?" Because she never wants to come back out and finish a movie, and I'm all like, "You want to finish Tank Girl?" And she goes, "Yeah," and then she's watching it, and she goes, "Can I be Jet Girl for Halloween?" And I'm like,
we
yes,
Oh,
we,
hell
can.
yeah.
yes, we can. I'm like, yeah. And I just started looking stuff up. I'm all, it's gonna be pricey, but we can start now.
It's all DIY. You know
Yeah,
what
no,
I
that's
Right.
mean?
why. Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna just we like leading up. We're just gonna start like buying stuff for it. But yeah, I'm like, yes, we can. No problem. Let's look at this.
Oh, and then she's ready for the con, you know? It's like, yeah.
So
Yeah, she got the costume for when you debut your comic book next year.
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got a nice full circle moment there.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Andy,
She's
how
been
old are your daughters?
10 and 7.
Okay. Cute.
It's exhausting. Yeah, they're cute, but I'll tell you, they're easy to love and hard to like sometimes.
Same.
Same.
Wait, I'm reversed.
Wait, so I don't know. Do you have kids?
No, I don't have kids. I'm like I'm an Uncle Joey to a couple of dogs. You
Oh,
know.
all right.
They're not mine, but we spend some time together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the only not dad here, huh?
See why you look well rested and
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all girl dads too. How about that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've got some
I mean, I know you
fingernail
have
polish on right
you have one
now.
of each, Forrest, but yeah, we're all girl
Yeah.
dads.
Good job, guys.
I think so. We're trying.
Yeah.
I know.
We're trying.
Just the fact that everyone has been like, I share this with my daughter, or like, should
Yeah.
I'm like,
Or I
yes,
should.
guys. Like, yeah. Yeah, I would. I mean, it's a little raunchy sometimes, but like nothing too horny happens. Like you could
No.
watch it and not get the jokes. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah.
Well, I think especially now, there's these kids movies that have subtle adult humor snuck into them, where you can be like, so they can entertain the adults as well. And Forrest, I don't know if you feel the same way, but every once in a while there's like a little double entendre or a little,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good writing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, as soon as my kids get in trouble for repeating things I say, then I will watch my mouth. When my kids are pretty good, and they
Yeah.
don't. To my knowledge, they have not gotten in trouble for
Yeah.
not yet. And then I would probably be like, songwriter. Let's do songwriter.
Let's do songwriter.
So I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not a huge movie guy, so when Forrest asked me to do this, there was a little bit of anxiety that came along with it. And I was trying to think back of all the movies I liked and all the soundtracks, and I was just like, well, obviously, but I grew up with a lot of country music, so I was like, well, I could just do the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everybody likes, everybody knows that. And
Mhm.
like, no, that's a little too on the nose. And I was like, oh, well, 8 Mile was, I could probably still, and as I was listening to that, I was like, I still remember the words. And then I was like, no, but I don't like half of this is trash, and I don't really, this is not good anyway. And then,
Well, making an impression on you is like a thing. That's like,
true, yeah,
you know.
that's true. And I was going through my vinyl collection. I was like thumbing through my vinyl collection the other day. I came in and I was like, oh yeah, I have this on vinyl. And I was like, well, I'll pick this one then. Like Willie Nelson's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. Chris Christopherson on his own is great. And so you get them together and you kind of have this, I think it was originally posed as like a romantic comedy, like country dramedy or whatever, but it's sort of just like a 80s buddy cop kind of film, but for country guys. Like it's just
Okay.
a buddy country movie. And it kind of ties into a lot of their it's like they're songwriters and the love and like not being able to commit and being screwed over by shady business people. And so I was listening to this again and I was like, oh, that's and they and these guys wrote the music. They wrote their own songs for this movie. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like this is a really good song. This is a fun song. Like this is a classic Willie Nelson song. And I think Willie's one of those guys. Like he's got a unique voice. Either you love it or you hate it. There's not a lot of middle ground with him. But on top of that, he's got his own, like he's got his own sound. A Willie Nelson guitar solo. He's like Trigger's got its own sound. He's got his own style that nobody's really doing, that nobody could ever do. And then Chris Christopherson is just an incredible storyteller. I had this Highwaymen DVD. It was like kind of their writing session and how they recorded. And I think Willie Nelson was talking about how incredible of a storyteller Chris Christopherson is with his songs, and how I think the comment was like he's lived 1,000 lives before this one. And I think that shows. And even if you don't see the movie, I think if you listen to the song, if you listen to the soundtrack, you would have an idea of just what it is.
Yeah.
And the part that, like, after I recommended this and put it out in the universe and went back and listened to it, there's a song that Chris Christopherson had, Crossing the Border. And it's the idea of comparing, a stage in life where you're moving kind of your next chapter, and comparing it to, a person migrating to a new country. And then he uses a racial slur in there. And I was like, I forgot about that. And it really threw me off, because you watch, you read interviews and you watch interviews, and that guy is so progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for back then, and you compare to what country music is now, or what popular country music is now. And, he was there when Sinead O'Connor ripped up the picture of the Pope. And, his famous line was like, "Don't let the bastards get you down." And there's an interview where he talks about how it's like neo-Christianity is taking over America. And that was in the 80s. And so for him to use a racial slur really threw me off, and was like, oh my God, like sweaty palms. Why didn't I remember this after I suggested it? And then I thought, well, maybe it's a good thing, because you can have these people that you look up to and realize they're people, and you can have an honest conversation. Like, that was not a good choice. I don't know why he would use that word, but he's smart enough and well written enough and well spoken enough to know that I would think that he would know that was wrong. It's not like he's just a victim of the times or whatever, but
I'm sorry to make you say it.
No,
or
go
you
ahead.
Could spell it. Can you tell us what the word is? Because I didn't. I must have been like.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's talking. So it's like during a spoken word part, and he's really kind of like using up this imagery of crossing. It's crossing the border, and he uses the term wetbacks, and I was just like, oh no. So
what was he using it in, like and I think Jennie would get this one.
Like, we're like a couple of wetbacks ready to cross the border or cross the river or something.
Oh, so it's not like the Elvis Costello Oliver's Army way.
No, yeah. So it was like, Chris.
Yeah, because
open up a thesaurus, like a non-racist thesaurus, and figure out a better word.
He is famously an activist that is ahead of his time. You know what I mean? You're absolutely right about that. I like what a hunk, you know what I mean? But so I wonder, I mean, it is also, the movie is how old now,
Yeah, I think it's mid-80s, so 40 years.
I was going to guess like 85. Yeah.
485, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there is the more, not being like, it's okay, Chris, but you're right. It is something to think about. I don't know. Time, though, changes things.
Yeah, I have to believe it's a thing that he wouldn't include now. Right. But it wasn't considered as wrong.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or otherwise, right? But
sure. Yeah. So and maybe this is just one of those things where something that was deemed okay, by society back then, we've progressed, and maybe, and this is a little bit of a barometer, this conversation, or that, is a little bit of a barometer of proof that we've, that we have made some strides in acceptance and, what's okay and what's not.
Totally. I mean, we are talking about movies, but it's I feel like every comedy until 2015 had rape jokes, you know what I mean? Where it's why? This is a joke. So I feel like, I think we are moving faster than we like to think.
Yeah.
I think one of the other songs that really, so there was a couple of things that really stood out. So there's Willie had the Write Your Own Song, which I think,
I love that one.
which
Yeah.
is interesting now because of the AI movement. Um, so now you have all these people that you can just write a prompt, write me a pop punk song, and it'll give you the lyrics and the melody. Like sometimes I get bored and I'm like, hey, I want to write a Kid Dynamite like song, and it's like this is the chord progression, and this is, and I was just like, well, I mean, okay, now I'm gonna go to bed because I'm tired,
Yeah.
but there's these whole fans, and there's big um Timberland, the producer Timberland, like he signed an AI artist.
I just
I don't
thought,
know
yeah,
what that means, but
right.
he's got an AI artist on his label. Um,
Gross.
yeah, so the idea of, write your own song, I think takes on a completely different meaning, because it was kind of his middle finger to the industry. It was like, you don't like my songs, you don't like this, well, then write your own, or just take mine and shut up, which kind of the story with the Redheaded Stranger album is
Mm.
he finished it, he presented it, and they go, that's a great demo. We can't wait to hear the finished product. And his response is, it's done. That's the album. But it was so stripped and bare bones and like minimal instruments
Yeah.
that, and it blew up, but the industry didn't accept it at first. Oh, the Down to Her Socks. I thought, like, I kind of forgot about that one where it was Christopherson again, just being like, this song's about a woman being loved by a dumb son of a bitch. And I was like, all right, well, there's no room for interpretation on that one. But the idea of being, in some type of relationship that isn't healthy, and like ultimately being like your feet are the last to know, because those are the one thing that's what's going to get you out of this relationship. So again, I thought it was just like a really clever kind of songwriting approach.
I feel like that genre of like really clever country, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's so present
Mm-hmm.
anymore. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just not mainstream, but I feel like this was like to my understanding, like a big part of like classic country music was like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to be sort of like a funny poet, like
Yeah, I think there was this window where, especially with country music, those people lived hard lives. Like Carl Perkins couldn't afford new strings, so he would tie strings that he broke together and continue playing. And Merle Haggard was born in a train car. Like his house was a train car. And these guys all grew up. We all know the Johnny Cash story. Jerry Lee Lewis, half of his family were bootleggers, and they were getting more money by the bootleggers from their family being in prison than they were out, being bootleggers. And it's like they lived this hard, authentic lifestyle. So you got hard, authentic, real life stories in country music. And I think, probably my therapist would say, comedy and joking is a bit of a deflection. And so I think you might see some of that. And now, especially again, going back to the pop country movement, you don't have that lifestyle is done. Nobody's growing up in a Dust Bowl anymore. Nobody is working the fields for 10 hours a day and then coming back and playing a Carter Family song or whatever. Like it's just it's all made on the computer again. It's kind of going back to it's being marketed, which has always been music industry, but I think you get an authenticity that you don't necessarily see today, or at least that you have to go digging for. Because I know that there are artists out there that I'm not aware of that are popular and doing a lot of the, traditional or classical or outlaw country type of stuff. But yeah, to your point, Jennie, I do think you see the good. This is where you see a divide between the goods and the greats, is you have the ability to be funny, which is funny is hard to write. Anybody can make an off the cuff like one, like I got a good one liner here. I zinged them and then I stuck back into the corner. But to be able to write something funny, whether it's a book or a comic or a movie or a song, is or even a wedding speech or whatever, it's so hard. So to be able to be kind of clever and tell a story, I guess that's one of the things I love about country music, and it's simple. And I love the way they structure songs. I love the way that they are able to, bring instruments in, bring instruments out. I don't know. I love classic country music, and I think it takes a special songwriter to be able to do it well.
Yeah. And this is like I just never knew about this movie. So then I was like, these two?
Yeah, I knew about the soundtrack, but not the movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's
I really want to. I was like, because I like obviously Willie Nelson is a god among men, and like Chris, like I'm not kidding. Chris Christopherson is like such a hunk, like ethically, and like what a legend.
I don't think any of us
know,
would disagree.
No.
Yeah, I just didn't know about this, and like, yeah, the one that really stood out to me was write your own song, because I was like, God damn it, I love. A song that acknowledges a song. I don't know why I'm always like a sucker for that, because it's like you're kind of breaking that fourth wall. And then, like we said, like these guys are just so clever, and like it's full of all these like unexpected kind of punches within this framework of like, I think there's a lot of preconceptions about country music where it's like, oh, it's a formula, like, it's going to do this here, but it's like, yeah, but then like the lyrics a lot of times like really take a turn and,
Yeah.
knock you off your feet a little bit.
They can tell a story, and it's crazy. And I think that goes to show the staying power of some of those songs. Like everybody knows Walk the Line. That song is, 60 years old, 50, 70, so however old, but you can tell, and that's the thing with country. It's like three chords in the truth, right? And that's the staying power of, I think a lot of the stuff that we do, like, art in any form. I had another note. Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting. So after this movie came out, it was in the mid 80s, and then Willie Nelson ran into his tax problems in the early 90s that everybody knows about. And just kind of like the weird parallel between the two, because, the movie, there's the shady business guy that screws him out all this stuff, and how, is a songwriter's songs are their most important commodity. And in order to get out of the trouble with the IRS, Willie Nelson did an album, titled one of the songs off this record called Who Will Buy My Memories, and all the proceeds and everything, all the money that generated went to pay off his debt to the IRS. So it was like, now you have a songwriter using his most precious commodity, his songs, to help pay off, a debt that he had. So it was just like weird little parallels and kind of the way of life imitating art at times.
God, so authentic. Like,
yeah.
The movie's a fun ride. I enjoyed them. I had gotten out of work early one day, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. And like Rip Torn's in it, and like people from the 80s, you're all like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Like the mom from A Christmas Story's in it. Leslie Ann Warren's in it. She was Miss Scarlet from Clue. And I think this is like right before Clue too. So it was weird seeing all these people pop in, and I'm like, oh, hey, okay.
Yeah.
You know what every character is when they walk in. But like it's still like but that soundtrack for the movie definitely makes it. Like if the movie is kind of meh, and I enjoyed the movie, but if someone thinks the movie's kind of meh, like that soundtrack just elevates it enough to where you're like, oh no, I can do this.
When did you encounter it? When did you see it first, Andy?
I don't know. It's just one of those where, like Folsom Prison Blues, everybody knows it, but you don't remember the first time you heard it.
Okay. It's been part of your life.
Yeah. It was around.
Okay.
But
that's
cool. So I don't have a good answer. Sorry.
No, I feel like Young Frankenstein is like that for me, where I'm like, I've been living in the soup for so long. Like, I don't know.
I saw it at some point. Couldn't tell you when.
Yeah. Cool. Had you guys seen it? Or Forrest, you watched it, but had you seen
it? I didn't even know about it until this. I knew of the record, like, which is weird to know of the soundtrack to the movie, but not the actual movie itself. Yeah, I do actually. I have it, one of the tabs on my work laptop, which I cannot still get to work right now, is that movie. I had it on in the background at work the other day, and I was like, wait, this is too interesting. I have to like devote time to watching it. I can't just like leave it on like the fishbowl. But
and then obviously Chris Christopherson went on and had a great acting career as well.
Yeah, right.
So.
Blade.
I feel like there's like a whole genre, well, there should be, or at least a category of like films whose soundtrack is like the Big Chill soundtrack, I feel like
Yeah.
kind of is bigger. I don't know anybody that's seen that movie, but like you see that in a record store, you need to buy it right now. Like
I remember my parents watching that movie, and I remember them sending me and my brother up to our room because that was a grown-up movie. But we listened to the soundtrack all the time.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. The cassette tape is probably in the little room behind me here somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, it's a classic.
That and St. Elmo's Fire, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, all those Hughes Brat Pack soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, any of those. I feel like, yeah, when you're at the record store, like hit the soundtrack section and you get stuff like this, you know what I mean? Where it's like, or I wasn't sure how to interpret this question because then there's like people like Henry Mancini, you know what I mean? Like really good like soundtracks with
Mm.
like where it's instrumental and more like a
Or Danny
composer
Elfman.
thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Yeah, Danny Elfman.
I was thinking about doing a score one like this at some point,
Oh,
where you pick a
yeah,
score
Jan
from a movie.
Tiersen and Mark Mothersbaugh. I almost picked like because he's just like his musical direction on like all the Wes Anderson movies, like what he writes and then also what he curates is like I listen to those a lot.
Those are
Like,
good. Those are all good.
yeah.
Last thing, so I almost picked "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." Like that
Oh,
was
Yeah.
I was on
Cohen's
that one
and
for a
oh
minute.
That's a music
Um,
history one too.
yeah,
That's a good pick.
yeah. No, that's yeah. I'm a big Cohen's fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huge Cohen's guy. I probably watch Raising Arizona at least once a year.
Ooh.
And this is the first year I watched it where my wife was okay with it
Why?
because she didn't know what it was, and I've been watching it since again, like you were saying with Young Frankenstein,
Okay.
it was just I was in the soup, and I've been watching it since I was a kid. And I put it on for her. I'm like, this is like the best movie. I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this movie so many times. This is the best. And you get into it and you find out what it is, and she goes, are they stealing a baby? I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, yeah, they're stealing a baby, but, and she goes, you're making me watch a movie about them stealing a baby. And I'm like, yeah, it's a comedy, but like, you'll get there. And she's like, it's a comedy.
It's such a comedy.
But I think this is
I
the
feel
first time
like
I watched it in front of her the other day. And I think this is the first time she kind of saw, like, oh, okay, I get the charm of this.
Oh
That's
Brother
cool.
though is, you know what I mean? Like it's about musicians like
Hmm.
using the song to, get out of I guess maybe I need to watch Songwriter also because I feel like there are some parallels to
Ooh.
like, that kind of like this is our way out. This will be how we make the money to like stay out of prison.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
that's a
like
good pick.
the songwriter. It was like I said. It was like this weird in between of like the very tropey of like the cigar chomping like
It's
piece
kind
of
of
shit.
campy a little bit. Like
Yeah,
they
it's
really lean into the tropes.
it's good. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, all right, this will just be like The Gambler, and then I was like, oh no, this is awesome.
Okay. Would you file it under like, because there was like a moment where like in the mid 80s, like comedies were like a little bit absurd? Like, is it in that lane where like, or no?
No, I think I mean, maybe not absurd, but I think maybe their life experiences, but maybe,
A little hyperbolized.
yeah.
Hyperbolized would be the
Okay.
word.
There we go. Forced for the save.
But like in the best way, like it was a fun ride. I enjoyed it. I mean it gets tropey, but like what movie in the 80s doesn't get tropey?
Smoking the Bandit, but with Christopherson and Nelson and songwriting.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's tropey, then I feel like it maybe is the source. Like it's, sometimes.
Maybe. I mean well it kind of going back to your grandfathering music and stuff like yeah, same thing, kind of like where does that go back to? You know what I mean? You could take the type of character that you would see in Oh Brother or Art Thou that might be trying to screw him over, and you would see like the evolution of that. I mean, I know it's a movie that's like made 30 years before, but like you can see that character there, like in that time, like in the time period, if you will, rather than when the movie was released. If that made any sense.
I think so. Okay, I have some questions because this is so interesting for this to be part of your like growing up soup. Like, were there other, and then also you had said that like your upbringing was like very conservative. Like, what were some other like family canon films like that you grew up with?
Yeah. I remember one weekend my parents had some friends over and they went through all of the Rockies.
Okay, yeah.
So like Rocky Balboa. My grandpa had a couple of the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh yeah.
So we would always watch The Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade. And then it was just, I was a kid in the 90s, so, a 7, 8, 9 once the early 90s hit. So then it was just stupid stuff like the Mighty Ducks and Three Ninjas Kick Back. And the Sandlot. And, I remember going to see the Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh, yeah.
In the theaters, and my mom being upset because Raphael said "damn" at some point.
Yeah, it's a little horny. It's like
it gets a little, yeah. But it was. I know you asked about movies, but with the music stuff, it was very like my dad was a preacher, and we were all involved in the church. So if it wasn't country music, it was religious music.
Wow.
And so, like growing up, knowing the words to the Old Rugged Cross and being able to sing that without using the hymnal or the choir book or whatever, and being forced to be in the church choirs. And then and I lived in Oklahoma in the early 90s. So the explosion of Garth Brooks and that pop country. And so it was like, that was a lot. And like, when I talked with Forrest, when we talked about the 4 records and, the 0 to 10, it was just, even now, I still go back and I'll listen to Randy Travis and be like, this song is structured really well.
Yeah.
How can I take this into a 2-minute punk song?
Wow.
And so there's a lot of, and people probably don't hear it, but even our other guitarist, he grew up on old country music, and his dad is like 85 and plays slide guitar with his old buddies at the airport, of their 5,000 people town as like the Sunday brunch background music. We'll sit there and I'll be like, dude, did you check out this George Jones song? Like, this structures really well. And then that just ends up being a lot of our influence.
That's so cool. I like an influence that's not so direct. Like, you know what I mean? When it's like I hear some friend's album and I'll be like, yeah, I had that record too. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You did a really good cover. It's just like, but I do think when you like reach laterally into like a different pot, it's like plywood. It makes for a stronger, you know.
It makes the music more interesting, I think. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I was texting with our drummer a couple of weeks ago. Moves Like Jagger came on, and I was like, dude, do you realize Maroon 5 wrote an awesome hardcore song and turned to pop? And I was just like, they got the kick drum going, and they got the vocals in. You just put like a palm mute guitar, and then it comes in, and like you just throw like a punk beat in, and you come back. I was like, they wrote a sick ass hardcore song and then chose not to perform it that way.
Yes. You need to put an ad in the paper, right? Be like, I need a hardcore band to do this. I'm pretty sure it'll turn out great. Yeah.
So now it's like I listen to that song more than I want to, and I go, how do I turn this into a punk song? But that's So I grew up very conservative, very sheltered. So a lot of these references and a lot of these movies I didn't get at the time, or weren't on my radar because of that upbringing. But
oh my gosh.
So Songwriter, the wholesome country music family.
Yeah.
Which when you start doing some digging, not so wholesome. But,
it sounds wholesome,
It sounds wholesome. But, so that was Songwriter.
That's cool. I like this.
Me too. All right, Jay.
So that means it's singles time.
Single
So
time.
I preface this by saying that I don't think in the pantheon of like music soundtracks versus film, I don't think there's a bigger discrepancy between how great the soundtrack is and how terrible the movie is. Singles, not a good movie, and I wanted to like it because it was Cameron Crowe, it was Seattle, it was like good, there's good people in it. And I tried to watch it for the first time when I was like 12, and I got in trouble because my little brother was there, and it's not a movie. It's not a movie a 12-year-old should be watching, never mind like
Okay.
his 9-year-old little brother. And so that was a thing after a sleepover. And like I tried to start it a dozen times over the years, and I don't actually know if I've made it all the way through. I just
Oh
can't because it's not
no.
good. But I say that like
Once I've made it through.
yeah, I might have done it just like because I felt like I had to. But even Cameron Crowe doesn't like it. Like he doesn't like the way that the movie turned out. So
In all
so
fairness,
that's
though, it was his follow up to Say Anything, which is probably his best
right.
movie.
Right. Yeah, he just like didn't stick. There's a lot of good little vignettes in the movie, but little vignettes in a movie don't make a good movie. But I remember the first time I heard the soundtrack because I bought it on CD. I had just gotten a CD player for Christmas.
This was
that
the
year.
advent of CD players for Christmas.
Yeah, this was like not the Sony Discman because we didn't have Sony Discman money, but we definitely had like Panasonic version of the yeah. And I remember like because I knew Pearl Jam and who they were, I bought the soundtrack and knew nothing else really of most of the other bands aside from that there was a Hendrix song on it. And being a child of like my dad's, I liked Hendrix. And I remember like on my paper route, putting the like my bag that held all the newspapers in it and my CD player in the front and starting that soundtrack. And that was the best paper route ever. And I became like the only CD I really listened to on my paper. Like there is no more singular record by anybody than the single soundtrack to me. So in like coming up with this, with what I was going to pick for this, there are a lot of really good options. Like Tank Girl's a really good option. A lot of them that we've talked about already are really good options, but those would have only been number 2. Like I vividly remember like just hearing the bass line of Wood for Alice in Chains that starts
so good.
And I was like, oh man, this is going to be like my world is going to change. It is like Pearl. I've said this a lot before doing that sort of like look back thing. Pearl Jam is very much the reason that I got into punk rock. Because like Eddie Vedder always referenced Fugazi and Minor Threat and Ian MacKaye in general and Bad Religion and whatever. So that's how I got into punk rock. But like, it's really because of this record and then looking at everybody else that was on this record, Mudhoney and Screaming Trees, and like following those branches out to wherever they went to. And like, I don't like all of the record. Like I never really got into the Replacements because I don't know, nobody where I grew up listened to the Replacements. But so my introduction to the Replacements was the 2 Westerberg songs that are on this record. And if that's your introduction, I think, to Westerberg, you probably aren't a Westerberg fan because like Dyslexic Heart is dope.
They're so corny, and I am
yeah. And so I went, well, like fuck Paul Westerberg and fuck the Replacements for for like 20 years after that. I've changed my mind. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah. The 2 Pearl Jam songs on this record are great. They're way better than anything and produced better than anything that's on Pearl Jam's first record. Yeah. And Pearl Jam are like my like desert island band. If I had to pick one seminal band whose catalog I could take with me, that's the one. That Chris Cornell song that's on there is beautiful, and I think it showed that Chris Cornell was more than just Soundgarden. But then there's a Soundgarden song on it too that just like kicked me in the face as a little 11-year-old kid. The Mother Love Bone song was pretty cool, and I have subsequently seen Pearl Jam cover that a couple times, and it's really fun. The Mudhoney song is great. Even the Heart song that's on it, I'm not a huge Heart fan necessarily, but Heart doing Led Zeppelin is kind of cool. Um, Nearly Lost You by the Screaming Trees is maybe the best song on the record, and if it's
It
not,
is
that's
a
it's only because
perfect
Drowned by
song.
it is. It is. I love that band. I fell in love with that band after this record. Drowned by the Smashing Pumpkins might be the best Pumpkin song. And what a way to close a record of just like a 6-minute song that's just like swirling feedback and distortion. And I was like, it doesn't fit in the movie really, or any movie at all. But like, I will always listen to singles all the time. I listen to that still probably monthly anyway, start to
Wow.
finish. And it's been 35 years. That came out in what? June, I think, of 92.
92. Yeah, 92.
Yeah, so I was 12 and I'll be 47 on my next birthday. So, yeah, all the time. I love it, start to finish. The movie is garbage. Aside from there is a Pearl Jam cameo in the movie where
Mhm.
Eddie and Jeff are in the diner.
Cornell's in there too, right?
What's that?
Doesn't Cornell make an appearance?
Yes, although not in the diner. So Eddie and Jeff and I think Dave are the backing band. What's it? Matt Dillon's backing band,
Yeah.
Citizen Dick. Yeah, Citizen Dick. And they get a terrible review in whatever the Seattle newspaper is. But like the reviewer doesn't like Matt Dillon's character, but the rest of the band is all right. And so the line is like, a positive for us is a positive for you. And like, that's just such a bad movie, but whatever, it's fine. But I always and forever, that is like, I don't know if I could only pick one record to bring on a desert island, I'd be like, I'd have to hold everything up against the single soundtrack. And that's saying that without even liking the two Westerberg songs on it.
It's a perfect, it's like, now that's what I call grunge. Like, it's a perfect
it kind of
font.
is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I had it too, and I loved it. I love that you picked this. It came up for me because I was like, spent a lot of time with it. When you're a kid and you don't have any money, it's like I can buy one CD this month and it's gonna be this one. Like,
yeah. And like, I don't know, like they say that whatever, there's always the record that sort of changed everything for you. And there were so many of them that came out between 91 and 92 that have stayed with me, but because that's your formative time, like 12, 13 years old is like, that's when your brain is doing the thing that 12 and 13-year-old brains do. And so you're looking for something to soothe that and whatever. But like, I get the science behind why what you listen to when you're 12, 13, 14 is what sticks with you. But man, I was really lucky to be 12, 13, 14 in like 91, 92, 93.
Yeah.
It's a very mature record for a kid at that age.
Yeah, and I've thought about that over the years. And like, I went from listening to I grew up on my dad's music, which was Springsteen and Seeger and a little bit of the Beatles. But even then, I had a friend who at a young age, talk about mature, ruined the Beatles for me because he thought it was all like Sesame Street music. And so he Yellow Submarine, and I was like,
you told me that story. You made it sound like it was like a grown man who said that.
Subsequently, yes. So it was more recent. It was a Pearl Jam fan. I mean, more recent, like it was the 90s. But yeah. But that ruined the Beatles for me forever. But like, I listened to a lot of my dad's music, and then you had to push away from listening to your parents' music there for a while. So I definitely got into like late 80s hip hop and R&B, or we didn't call it rap and R&B, like Tribe Called Quest and early Wu-Tang and stuff like that. But then like, I don't know, then the grunge sort of became like my music, but it was close enough to be like, you could tell that those guys listened to like Springsteen and 70s rock too, but also listened to like music with distortion and music with like feedback. And that's the rabbit hole I've been down ever since.
I feel like that Soundgarden song Birth Ritual might be the heaviest Soundgarden song I've ever heard, because the first word I have after that is just chugs. It
Yes.
was just like the guitars are so heavy, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I think
this
it's
is
in
a
like
pretty
C.
rock Soundgarden song.
They played in, especially then, like they tuned down to like C sharp or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah,
and it is just like it's all just chuggy right hand. Yeah,
and
and
that was
Cornell screams like,
yeah.
yeah,
And then the note that I had for the Pearl Jam song "Breath" was like, this is one of the better Pearl Jam songs I've heard.
Yes.
Like, this is a pretty rock. It's got with like cool bass verses. The guitars were doing cool stuff. Like, I was like, this is just a rockin' Pearl Jam song.
yeah, yeah. I've always gone back and forth about which one is better, Breath or State of Love and Trust,
State
because
of
I
Love and
think it,
Trust.
yeah, it might be, but it's like for years it's been Breath for me. It like State of Love and Trust might have overtaken it more recently, but I don't know.
Okay, so I grew soft brain when grunge happened. You know what I mean? Limited
Yeah,
access, no older person funneling me music. So like the best I could do was Beavis and Butthead in the radio and grunge was there. You know what I mean? So huge Pearl Jam fan, but then looking back, I'm like, I don't really like this. However, the two songs on this soundtrack
yeah,
are
yeah,
excellent. Like
yeah,
State of Love and Trust could be a hot water music song. It's like
Ooh.
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
so
I could see
it's
that. Yeah,
still so good. And also I historically am full of Alice in Chains jokes because I fucking hate Lane Staley's voice. But like I love this song.
yeah,
It slaps. And I also Jimi Hendrix was like such a big part of 90s
yeah,
alternative music culture, even though, you
yeah,
know what I mean, he was like, they were like, oh, it's retro, like we're all referencing Jimmy. And like, I was like, what the fuck happened to people caring about Jimi Hendrix? Like, he was
yeah. Really.
formative for me learning to play the
Yeah,
guitar. Like, people do not talk about him the way that they did in the 90s. So I loved this, you know what I mean? This is truly
yeah.
like, this is what 90s alternative grunge, it's a primer, you
Right.
know?
I'm feeling a little in the minority because I like those two Paul Westerberg songs. I was like, it's kind of
They're
got this
catchy.
Americana feel, like they're kind of
Yeah.
fun a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, there's like some nanas in
Yeah,
there.
I'm right at our
Sing along.
replacements. Yeah, I'm right at our replacements, so I'm with you.
They're
Oh,
a
go
little
ahead.
corny.
They are.
I've tried to like Men in Black, like memory eraser thing, and like
Yeah,
try to come into those songs like pretending I'd never heard them before.
Uh-huh.
sure.
And I think especially as like angsty 12-year-old kid, you're not gonna like those two sort of
No,
poppy Westerberg songs. I
No,
think
yeah.
you
as
start to see.
standalone songs, as an old now, I like them much more than I did when I was 13. But
Yeah.
they're a weird fit on that record.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you
They almost do we know if they were written for the movie?
They're on the first solo record, so I don't know if they are, but I know the replacements are on the Say Anything soundtrack. That was another soundtrack I looked at, was the Say
Mhm.
Anything one. It took me like 3 or 4 listens to get into the replacements.
Yeah.
And so I get it. Like something like it was one of those bands where something always was like hooking me, but I didn't know what it was. Like my brain wasn't ready that far. It was still in punk rock brain. It wasn't in like let's jump to poppier stuff brain. So I get it.
Oh, I don't think I ever consciously listened to a replacement song because of how much I hated those two Westerberg songs. I don't think I consciously listened to a replacement song till my late 20s.
It took me
It's
about
like
till then to get there.
Yeah.
it's like the color pink. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're like as a girl being like, "No, I'm not going to wear pink. That's for princesses." And then now I'm like, "Pink fucking rocks." Like pink is badass. Like I fucking
Right.
love it when people wear pink. But I think when you're trying to be an angsty young thing
Yeah.
and you're listening to this soundtrack and then Paul Westerberg shows up with like every pop
No, no, no,
trope
no. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like the modulation and you're like, God damn it. You know what I mean? But then now as a songwriter, it is like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff going on.
Those are good songs, standalone. Yeah.
Jason, I have to ask you. Okay, so you said that you bought this because of Pearl Jam. you're going to deliver your papers. You hear Wood by Alice in Chains. There's a lot of piano on this record.
Oh.
So how do you, as an angsty 12-year-old, 13-year-old, you've got Alice in Chains, you've got Pearl Jam, you've got Chris Cornell kind of doing his slow acoustic singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah, that
So
Mother
how
Love
do you
Bone
handle
song.
like pedaling down the street, throwing papers, hearing the piano on here?
I think that maybe that's the thread from my dad's music or my parents'
Okay.
music, right? Like if obviously there's keys and piano all over Springsteen, all over like Billy Joel. And so maybe that's like the thread that like when we did the 4 records thing with Jennie, I think we talked about the synth and how much I like hate synth unless it's in a Rush song.
Yeah.
Like they're the only band allowed to use synth. But I think like piano, and I took piano lessons when I was a kid. So I think that was sort of like the through line in it to like, okay, that's my dad's music because like the Mother Love Bone song has piano in it, but then like it also turns into this heavy song about drugs and strippers. A lot of these songs about drugs and strippers. And I grew up in suburban New Hampshire, like not my world whatsoever, but I felt like I got it. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I'm sure it's like everybody getting Out Come the Wolves, where it was all about bikers and people getting shot, and it's all like, yeah. I remember the time where I was a biker.
You see that with rap music too,
Oh, sure.
Listening to rap music, and all of a sudden, they're running the streets.
Right.
That's a cul-de-sac, my man.
Drugs and strippers, you know what I mean? And like desperate living, I think, was such a heavy theme for like grunge music. You know what I mean? Like I didn't hear about this in music before that, and then I was like, oh yeah, everybody's just doing heroin and stripping in the Pacific Northwest. Like, which like
what a magical place.
Looking for Bigfoot, doing drugs.
Yeah, I want to go. It's
I wonder, kind of going back to the SLC punk thing where, what do you do when the world doesn't end? And they're just like, they're living fast, they're living hard. And all of a sudden, those guys make it to 30.
A lot of them didn't.
Well, that's true. A lot of them didn't. But just kind of that, like, I guess just like we're going to live, it's all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
At some level, I guess that's kind of what the movie is. Really, like in some way, like it's really about the dating culture in Seattle and whatever. But I think there is some of that, like what happens when you get through your debaucherous 20s and then you come out on the other side and trying to make sense of some of that. I don't know. I shouldn't try to make sense of that movie, but.
Did you see the movie or did you hear the soundtrack first? Or was it simultaneous?
I heard the soundtrack first, but then because I jumped so deep into the rabbit hole that was Pearl Jam and knew they were in the movie, it was not long after. I mean, it was that summer 92, that
I wanted to see it because I heard the soundtrack first, like read about it in Spin Magazine, got my hands on the soundtrack, fell in love with Pearl Jam. Then I was like, my friends were like, they're in the movie. And that's why we watched it. I remember nothing else,
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, it's forgettable.
Yeah. But isn't that cool, though, that your soundtrack can be important enough to, like, continue to generate royalties?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, that soundtrack really was the linchpin to a whole scene.
Yeah.
And the movie is such garbage.
Well, I guess the other thing that's interesting is just who had their finger on the pulse to have these bands, this scene before it really blew up into what it was. Because that's, for Forrest, for Grosse Pointe Blank, like that's a throwback. Like those songs were established. Jennie, yours was, kind of that counterculture real time. Chris and Willie are playing their own people, they're established. But this is before grunge was grunge. This was before it took over an MTV, draped flannel all over everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that maybe that's what? Maybe he just kind of saw a thing and was like taking a bet on it.
Was
Yeah,
he living
maybe.
in the Pacific Northwest? Like,
I think he's consistently lived in San Diego.
okay, just kidding. Sorry, because I
Maybe
feel
he
like a
might, he
lot of
might,
times it's like people being like, "This is my world, and I want to share it," and like that's how
Right.
things get broken, you know? But interesting.
Yeah,
but
I mean, really, that movie could have existed anywhere USA, right? Like it didn't have to be based in Seattle. It just was
Yes, it
based in
did. I mean,
Seattle.
musically, it did.
No, musically it did, but I mean,
Yeah.
like the
the story.
actual the story itself could have been Detroit. It could have been
But
Kansas
he
City.
doesn't he write a lot of his movies are like kind of inspired by music, right?
Mhm.
So maybe he
Yeah,
was just like, this is what is hot, and I want to make the movie about it, you know?
yeah,
Which,
Yeah, either way, I thought that was cool because again, this one missed
yeah.
my radar. But going back and doing some research and being like, oh, this was okay. This was before it was a gimme or before everything was blown up, and it was um like these people were still probably working day jobs and like making
yeah.
music and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was awesome. Like,
Yeah, and maybe maybe I just look into this more enough, but why is there a lack of Nirvana in this movie?
Nirvana, I think, was a separate animal, and it broke a little later, like just after. Because to my knowledge, it was like Pearl Jam and these guys that didn't get super mainstream. No, I was like, locked in my bedroom reading Spin magazine, like poring over it at the time that this was happening, and like I do feel like this was just a little bit before Nirvana became mainstream.
I feel like there was a rights thing with Geffen too. I don't remember, but
Mhm.
I think that like Geffen was I think Geffen knew what they had with Nirvana, and it was like going to be an exorbitant amount of money to get to license a song. And the rest of them were all either independent or like Epic Records bands, I think. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think that was part of like label politics was part of it.
So
Who
much.
earns?
Yeah, I feel like that as a person not understanding it and being like, why isn't this on the set? Like getting
Yeah,
that Tank Girl soundtrack and not having that face to face on it, I was like, what
yeah.
the fuck? My favorite, but knowing now that it's like, well, it's because you're owned by other people and they don't
Especially
want to
because
loan
Face
you
to Face
out.
then put that song on like 4 different records of
Yeah,
their own,
they're gonna get that money. But
right?
oh,
I,
that's a good question. I had that thought too. I was like, not having Nirvana on here, even even if it was something earlier, like off of Bleach, was a little surprising, I think. But I guess yeah, it
I
makes
can
sense.
just
maybe,
imagine Kurt thinking he was too cool for it, though.
That's
Like
that
I
could
don't know.
yeah, not a
That
business
always rubbed me the
person.
wrong way about him at the time. Like I don't know. I didn't know like he was too punk rock for anything.
Well,
But
selling out was a bad word at the time.
yeah, it was. But he also was on Geffen Records, so like
I think he
yeah.
hated himself for it though.
Well, true, sure.
But
I mean, he kind of wrote that song about it.
Heroin's expensive.
yeah. Did okay, sorry, this is a tangent, but there was a movie I almost picked, and I think it's in this family of singles, The Crow soundtrack.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good one.
That's a
That
good one.
is a seminal, like industrial goth alternative suicide fantasy,
Yeah,
like and also a cool movie. I mean, visually, I'd never seen anything like that before, you
I remember
know.
seeing that at a drive-in, and it was the second movie after The Mask. I saw The Mask and I
Whoa.
saw The Crow at a drive-in double feature.
wow.
My
Wow.
dad took me to.
That's a weird double feature.
They're both comic movies. They were both. I mean, at the time, I didn't know they were
Okay.
both comic movies, but they
Oh,
were both indie comic movies. So it kind of, looking back on it, it makes sense. But like, The Mask was clearly the first movie, and then The Crow was the second movie.
right.
Did,
Not for kiddies.
did
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know that Brandon Lee died filming that when
Oh
you
yeah,
saw
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah, that was like, because I think he died, right. They're filming it. And then when the movie came out, they were talking about the soundtrack and this like horrible tragedy and like that it was like, also it was like, it had a lot of hype around it anyway, because it was like based on this like really cult comic and just like, it's amazing to me that that movie is not still discussed because it was so huge at the
Yeah.
time, it
Yeah.
had all this stuff kind of going for it, stoking the fire. But I personally haven't seen it in like 20 years, so maybe it's not still good. I don't know.
It was.
I,
I found online because I read a lot of digital through like the library. I found the comic. I never read the comic, and so I went back and watched the movie. Um, it's fine. It holds up okay. I think the thing I like seeing online all the time is that it's basically goth RoboCop.
It is and it's in Detroit,
Yeah.
you know? Okay.
There's another thing you can find online also where that movie and the Coen Brothers Hudsucker Proxy were filmed around the same place, and there's a bunch of like connections to those two movies.
oh, weird. Feel like I did try to watch The Crow when it was on TV somewhat recently, like within the last year and a half or so. And it's a really dark movie. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously thematically, but visually, it's a really dark movie. And I feel like the translation between analog and digital and streaming and whatever, like a lot of that gets washed out. Like it's a tough movie to watch on TV because it's so dark.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that with technology gets washed out. And I haven't listened to that soundtrack in probably 25 years. But I remember it being really good, and I remember getting it from my friend's older brother
Yeah.
because he bought it because he thought it would be cool, but then he realized he was too cool for it, so he traded me. I had the Doors Greatest Hits, the double CD, and I didn't like the Doors.
Oh, your
Someone gave
favorite.
it to
I was
me,
about to
so I
say.
so I traded it to him for the Crow soundtrack. Yeah,
That was like it's a comp, like in a
yeah,
way, introduction to like a lot of different music. Ultimately, I don't think I chose that path, but I did,
I
check
dabbled.
all of that out. And like, it's a great, now that's what I call industrial,
That's what
Yeah.
I call
also. But
What other
yeah.
soundtracks do you feel are like that? Because you made that reference twice, and I love
Oh
it.
my
Like you're not
gosh.
wrong. Like you're 100% not wrong. But like
the
that now, that's what I
Judgment
call
Night soundtrack.
industrial
What's
is spot
Do you,
on.
do you remember the Judgment Night soundtrack, which came out like had to be? I was still in high school, so it had to be like '96. It was like the first real. So it was to sing. It was to rap rock what like singles was to grunge music, but it was
whoa.
rap rock in so much as like they had hip hop artists and like metal
Oh,
artists like
okay.
collab on songs like Run DMC and Aerosmith, but a generation later. So like
Oh.
Is that when they
Quicksand,
had
I
Public
think
Enemy and Anthrax do Bring the Noise?
Public Enemy and Anthrax are on it. Yeah. Helmet does a song with like Onyx or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was
Wow.
yeah. I'm gonna have to look up who else was on. I remember that being, but it was that sort of thing. It was like right before like the Corns and the Limp Bizkits and all
Oh
them
my God. I
came out. But
cannot believe that came back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's
can't
weird.
believe it. I can't believe Ozfest is what survived. Like, you know what I mean? The wheel of time, and that's what fucking
Yeah.
kids are into. And it's like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut,
The fact that
It's like,
on I see people reference Slipknot as their gateway to like hardcore, and I'm just like, no, we
no.
make fun of people listening to Slipknot. This is
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
guys
It's
are
so
like,
crazy.
this is okay, man.
Yeah.
They with some of the corn chords, they refer to it as the bungle chord, and they've asked Mike Patton about that, and Mike Patton goes, "Don't blame me for that shit."
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
who was I can't even remember the name of the band, but they people started blame or like putting gent on them because their guitars would just go like gent gent gent. They're like, we don't want to be associated with that.
well,
Oh, I
it is.
don't
Yeah.
remember who it was.
I almost picked also of the Wes Andersons, right?
Yeah.
I almost picked Life Aquatic because I thought the like David Bowie motif
Mm-hmm.
was so interesting, like to layer that into like you're already doing Mark Mothersbaugh motif, and then to have like all these like David Bowie covers and like references. Um,
Yep. I think.
or
Yeah.
have you guys seen True Stories? That's one of my favorite movies.
The Talking Heads.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was one of those movies that was on HBO all the time.
Yeah, that soundtrack is funny because it's like it's a bunch of Talking Heads song, but it's like sometimes it's their version and sometimes it's performed by like the actors or like You know what I mean? It's a great, it's a Talking Heads album. You know what I mean? But it's like almost like got covers in it and like weird instrumental things, but it's just, yeah, it's a good one. What were some of your second picks that didn't make it?
Let me see which ones. The Life Aquatic was a big one for me. I really like you said, those David Bowie covers. I had the CD that was separate that had all the covers on it, that
Ooh,
had all the Portuguese
this
David Bowie
is,
covers on
yeah.
it. One, because I'm a Beatles guy, the Backbeat soundtrack.
I don't know that.
Okay, so they made a movie called Backbeat about the Beatles in Germany. And
Oh,
so it's when they were a five-piece, and they got a bunch of people together, like 90s. It was it was Dave Pirner from Soul Asylum, Greg Dulli from Afghan Wigs, Thurston Moore, Don Fleming, Mike Mills, and Dave Grohl. And they did,
what?
yeah, and they do, but they don't do Beatles songs. They do like the covers they would have done. So Mr. Postman, 20
Oh
Flight
wow.
Rock, that's how, you talk again, talking about going backwards.
I'm gonna write
That
this
was,
down.
yeah, you can't. I have it on CD. I think you can find it on YouTube.
That's a good song selection.
Yeah, it's a fantastic song, and it's a 25-minute listen because they're all 1950s, 1960s rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Long Tall Sally, and it's all them singing it. Like I think Dave Pirner is like the Paul in that, and then Greg Dulli is the John.
That's
So
really interesting.
cool.
It's a fun listen. I listened to that for again another one that my dad had that I listened to for hours. The jazzy one, the Kids on the Slope one that I was gonna have you guys do, but I opted not to.
How
Yeah,
do you feel
there's
about That Thing You Do? Was that
I
oh
on your
was
radar
just
dude,
gonna
though?
say that.
yes, that one is another one that's an amazing soundtrack too.
Was it the Fountains of Wayne guy?
Yeah.
Hmm.
What's his name again? I'm sorry. Yeah, that was so fun. I was just thinking like that would be a great pick too because it's like, he just kind of wrote a one-off album, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that soundtrack is amazing.
I almost picked Clueless because I feel like it had a lot of I miss like cute alternative radio songs, like
Mhm.
Jill Sobule and like cute. I mean, that was also where I first heard the Popes, Smoking Popes,
Same.
and like there's just a lot of cute stuff. But then there's some stuff that I'm like, I think I remembered liking the music more in the movie than just the soundtrack. But that was one that I was like, am I gonna pick Clueless? But what's another one? Oh, the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
Yes.
Now that's what
That's
I
a
call.
formative record.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That is a formative record.
So I'll tell you a story about Dirty Dancing. When I was 5, I didn't like that movie because my aunt used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But here's what she used to do. I wanted to watch DuckTales, and she either wanted to watch Dirty Dancing or Laverne and Shirley. So what she would do is she'd be like, "Oh, well, if the Beagle Boys are in this episode, you can't watch. I can't let you watch the DuckTales. I can't let you watch DuckTales." And the thing about the Beagle Boys, like 90% of those episodes, the Beagle Boys are in are on DuckTales. So she'd be like, "Oh, well, there's the Beagle Boys. I guess we have to put it on Laverne and Shirley now."
What? That's mean.
Oh,
Like,
she used to. My dad and my aunt used to fuck with us all the time. It's fun. I do it to the nth degree to my children, but not that bad. My dad, there's a hallway at my grandma's house, and there's a little nook where it goes into a room, and they would just stand there and wait to just jump out and scare the shit out of us 'cause it's a dark hallway. And at one point, knew he was there, and I just ran, and he jumped out, and I just jumped over his hand and like made
whoa.
it like out.
Yeah. Torture, child
Yeah.
torture in the name of playfulness. Like,
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's how I got a thick skin. It works.
it does. Yeah. A little bit of bullying goes a long way. No, okay.
Grandpa, who had the Indiana Jones movies, we found arachnophobia, and 7-year-old Andy 43-year-old Andy does not like spiders because of that movie. And I still look at my
Yeah.
shoes before I put them on to make sure there's not a a spider in there that's going to bite my foot and kill me. And then Jeff Daniels in the garage with the hair, it was like the hairspray and the lighter fluid or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I should watch grandpa movies anymore, guys.
Yeah, that I feel like that was a trauma movie for a
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Empire Records.
A lot of
Oh,
fun.
no, that's the other one. How do we forget
Empire Records. Yeah.
Oh,
That was, I told my boyfriend about this prompt and he put that one on and we went
Yeah.
through it. I was like, I mean, the best song is the movie version cover of Sugar High that's not on, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of great music in that movie that's not on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Again. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a thing for like mid 90s sort of what is now like adult contemporary alternative or college radio or whatever. Like
We
Yeah.
still watch it every Rex Manning Day.
yeah.
I think, okay, so of that, something I took for granted at the time, but I swear to God, now the Gin Blossoms Jealousy is perhaps the
That might
greatest
be
song.
the best song. Yeah.
The best song,
Yeah.
period. We
Yeah.
need a reissue of Carl Sagan's gold record to send into space, and that song needs to be
Yeah.
on it. And we took it for granted in the 90s. Like,
Yeah, that song is perfect. Especially like because the guy that wrote that song, he never actually heard it because he died. And so like it's quite literally him telling like I don't know, essentially foreshadowing his own death, right? Like I don't know, it's such a perfect and beautiful song.
yeah, the tragedy of that album.
That
is-
band really. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
pretty.
the next record too. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Four Records. Please check us out on Instagram at Four Records Podcast or email us at fourrecordspodcast@gmail.com. And as always, please keep up with your favorite bands at dyingscene.com.